Good morning, everyone. Sorry we're a little bit late. It's not my style to be tardy, but this is, after all, business as unusual. So here we go. Just wanted to say welcome to all of you. It's obviously a very important conversation that many of us are wanting and needing to have, because we have over 300 people registered to attend this webinar this morning. And also a big thank you to the NW Group, whose studio I'm sat in this morning, streaming live to you. Well, it's certainly been an unprecedented time in all of our lives, and the changes just keep coming, and I think will continue to do so for the next days, weeks, months. Decisions that we're making in the morning are completely flipped on their heads by the afternoon every single day. And this COVID-19 is an issue which is impacting all of our businesses in all industries in every country around the globe. And while we're in the world of events, and clearly with no events being carried out at the moment, we really wanted to take a moment and to lead the conversation, to keep the information rolling, open lines of communication for our people, our customers, our partners, and also our competitors, because we're all in this together, and we obviously all want to get to the other side and thrive once COVID-19 passes us. We all play a role in the evolution of changing the events industry and what it will be like in the future and shaping that future. The companies that we are today are certainly not going to be the companies that we are tomorrow. We know that. We are a $32 billion industry here in Australia, and we will come out the other side of COVID-19, but it certainly will take us a long time to get back to the 32 billion strong industry that we are today. And that is further going to be impacted by news like we heard overnight from the Prime Minister, that our borders are going to be closed to tourism as of 9 p.m. this evening. That's a further $45 billion industry that's going to be impacted for the foreseeable future. In fact, it has been stated that it could potentially last as long as 6 months. So at CI Events, we're constantly, and I'm sure like most of you, have been talking about disruption for the last number of years. And we've been looking at how we innovate, how we create different opportunities, and we've been sharing our views on the future of the industry over the past couple of years through our thought leadership updates, which I hope some of you have had the chance to be a part of over the last couple of years. And what we've been talking about is obviously event trends, technology trends, trends in adjacent industries to the events business and how that will impact the events industry. And you know, there are things like 24 hours of content is uploaded onto YouTube every single minute. Access to content has completely been transformed over the last few years. People now have free access. They can consume it in any which way that they want to, through any device, at any platform, at any given time of the day. And that is a completely different environment to operate in. And while these trends that we've been tracking for a while, we believed yesterday would take 3 to 5 years to really hit the events industry, for us to mould the events industry around these trends, today we've been hit with a big bang. And that effectively has meant that we need to address all of those issues immediately and today. So over the past few weeks, I've been asked time and time again by colleagues, people in my team, friends, industry, what do I think the world of events is going to look like? Is the world of events ever going to come back? Are we perpetually going to live in this virtual world that we now found ourselves in? And I honestly believe that the world of events will never be as we know it. We are disrupted in a very big way, but it can also be our largest opportunity. Our purpose at CI Events is that we care about creating experiences that engage and inspire. And that has never been truer for us, for our people, for our customers, for our charity partners, and for the industry at large. What we do every day matters, and how we move forward matters. We need to find a way to get past COVID-19 and ensure that we thrive in the months to come. So to all of you who submitted questions. Thank you. There were probably over 300 questions that came through. And obviously we don't have enough time to answer all of those questions today. However, what we've tried to do is pull them into key topics, and I hope I can address some of your key questions. But if I don't, I would love the opportunity for all of you to please connect with me, if it's via mobile, social, email. Please just drop me a line. I am ready and waiting to continue this conversation across our industry. So the first big question that we got asked was what the event trends will be in 2020. And I think for the foreseeable future, it is absolutely all about health, safety and protection. And, you know, for me, it's really about making the impossible possible. Now, I'm sure most of you are going, duh, that's what we do in events. We've been doing it for decades, making the impossible possible and creating these amazing experiences for people. And while I don't disagree with that, the time has now come to completely flip the lens, because we're in an impossible time, and we need to make that impossible possible so that we can continue to connect with our people and with our customers. At the moment, obviously, we need to protect the most vulnerable people in our community, and you would have heard many world leaders speak over the last few weeks and show their diagram of flattening that curve. So for us, obviously, we live in a world where we are protecting the vulnerable, and that means that we are going offline to live events to online to virtual events. And it really is about creating the unexpected. And I do believe that we will be seeing a pivotal shift to digital events, and how we communicate with our audiences will become more important than ever. You know, data is paramount to all events. And I think that as an industry, we do collect a lot of data, and we do that fairly well, actually. But I think what's really important now is to really take a pause and think about what data are we collecting? Why are we collecting this data? What are we going to do with this data? And how do we close the loop with that data to ensure that our audiences understand and are not just part of a virtual environment, they walk away from it, and then the data that we collect is really an opportunity to reconnect with those audiences, and how we communicate that is vital. It's really about understanding what data you want to derive as attached to your strategy. And that strategy is becoming more important than ever. The next question that that came to us, and it was a big question, is should we be live streaming events or should we be postponing our events? And to be honest, that really depends on what you need to do. And I think there's never been, arguably, a more important time to communicate with your audiences and your people. You know, in a time where, you know, people are getting more isolated, communication is key. People still need to feel that they belong. They need to be informed. They need that sense of security of what is happening around them, even though the situation is changing rapidly. Communication is the only way to stay connected. But what I urge, you know, our customers to do is really look at why are you holding the event? What do you want to communicate, and why do you want to communicate? Because during these uncertain times, what we are seeing is that a company's purpose and what a company stands for matters more than ever. And if you look at our partnership with our global charity, Solar Buddy, which is a charity that's focused on eradicating energy poverty for people around the world, it's still very important for our customers and still very important for our people that we continue to stand for what we believe in. Because a company that stands for something is something. And now is not the time to let go of our DNA and to shy away for what it is that we stand for as a business. It's those businesses and sticking to that DNA, communicating it and staying strong to our purpose that will help us get to the other side, and will really ensure that we're engaging our audiences more so than ever. And one trend that we've been tracking over the past few years is in this notion that in a highly connected world, there is still a huge amount of isolation. And, you know, some of the trends are showing that, you know, even though we're highly connected, more people are working from home, and that will only increase, obviously, as we navigate COVID-19. People are still connected to, on average, 7 devices per human being on the planet today. That is a lot of devices. And what that means is, and we know this to be true, that our audiences are consuming vast amount of technology in different platforms, in different ways. They want to access it in different ways. Different people process information in different ways. And now, more so than ever, it is vital that we recognise what these platforms are and that we use these multiple channels to integrate our strategies into and ensure that we are using them as a delivery mechanism to connect with our people and drive engagement. The next question was really about digital events and do we believe that they will become the new event? I think for now, and depending on the market that we're in, the answer is probably yes for the short foreseeable future. And as I mentioned before, now is the time to communicate with your audiences. It's more important than ever. But I think what we need to remember is that the world of events will change forever, and we need to look at events at no longer just a moment in time. We need to really focus on communication around that event, and it's all about the communication. And again, you need to ask yourself, what is your communications strategy? You're creating a journey for your audience, and the technology is a delivery mechanism. It's the content that will drive meaningful events. And we need to weave the two together to be very successful in the future. And I think that thinking of technology in a narrow way has to shift for us. It's no longer just what's the latest technology at my event. It's more, again, that strategy integrated into the technology. And in fact, I do think that this is one of our biggest opportunities for much larger engagement with audiences, because if we think about the events that we've all managed over the past few decades, events have a moment in time. They create what we refer to as a halo effect. It's probably 6 to 8 weeks pre and post event where people are still very engaged. You see a high return on investment from your events, but after that things start to go back to BAU. And I think that by being in this environment that we've been pushed into by COVID-19, it gives us a platform to communicate with our audiences on a far longer and ongoing basis, and ensuring that we are driving more return on investment, better engagement, and potentially staying more connected to our audiences over longer periods of time. We already know that events are a huge part of marketing activity, both for internal and external activities, but I think that this will just increase as time goes by. The next question was, how can we move to digitise our events in 2020? And I'm sure by now most of you and the event management companies that you work with have partnered with technology partners and have spoken to you about different options of streaming, live streaming. And, I think that's obviously very important. And at CI Events, we have over the past 12 months, in fact, been building what we refer to as a technology hub, or CI Connect, enabling our customers to really plug and play the various parts of their event, whether it's data, whether it's integrate technologies across entire events, whether it's conference apps, but it's really about how to make it very simple for you to choose a technology to enable what it is that you're trying to deliver. And I think, for us, it's about really understanding how do we take the delegate from where they are today to where you want them to be tomorrow. The next big topic that came up was how can we deliver engaging events online for a B2B audience? What are the latest and greatest tools making it interactive? Now, I think it's very important here to make a distinction that online events are very different to the traditional face-to-face event, and I know we all know that. Human touch can't be replaced by FaceTime, by a camera, but I think that is why it's so important to really focus on our approach and really focus on the brief of tomorrow rather than the brief of yesterday. And it's important to remember that if you're not using the right technology for the right audience, it won't have the impact that you want. For example, if you're wanting to deliver a conference content with a keynote, breakout sessions, then, a live Q&A and broadcasting might be the best option. If you want to deliver a product launch and create a completely different experience for your customers, then probably you're looking at VR, AR, or MR as another platform to work with. I think, though, that, obviously in a world going global, again, it's very important to start with the audience and to understand what it is that you're trying to convey to them and how you want them to digest the message that you're trying to give them. And there's plenty of solutions out there. We've all seen them, whether it's Google Card, whether it's online video streaming, whether it's, creating offline video to turn online to create communities. There are so many different ways to do this, but it is all about starting with the audience and the why. So the next question that came to us was, how fast can we get an online event up and running? So if you want to get down and dirty like me here in the studio, it's pretty simple. Probably a day or two to set you up. That's easy. But I think for us, it's really about sitting down with you, taking your brief, as I've mentioned on numerous times on this webinar already, and making sure that we are building the content strategy around just this moment in time for you. And that's probably 10 days to 2 weeks of sitting down and really understand what it is that you're trying to deliver. And I think, again, it's just very important to remember that in these days that the event is no longer the pinnacle. It's part of an entire communication journey. And I think that this is probably the biggest change and our biggest opportunity, as I keep saying. And how do we take our people, as I've said before, from where they are today to where we want them to be tomorrow? The next question was, how do we keep webinars equally as engaging and as an in-person event? Well, this is a really difficult question. It's probably a little bit of a moot question in the sense that we all know human face-to-face contact is not going to be the same and can never be the same as when you sit in a virtual meeting. But I think if we look at a number of different key factors and what we believe will make these an experience as close to and as deep as you can make it, it's the quality of the content is crucial. It's more crucial than when you're standing up on stage. You don't have that live feedback. You don't have the adrenaline of the crowd going through you. So that becomes even more crucial than it has been before. The length of presentations is obviously important. You're asking people to sit in a different environment without the adrenaline of the crowd again, and without the interaction. So, shorter, sharper presentations and different mechanisms of delivery are really vital during this time. But probably the most important 2 words for me during this time is, during your presentations, be brave. Be braver than you've ever dared to be before, and go deeper than you've ever wanted to go before, because that's what people are going to connect with. It's that raw emotion on the camera that will drive the audience in. So for us, we believe that all of these things will lead to greater engagement and ensuring that you have a very personalised approach to who you target, during these presentations. The next question was, when do I think that events will be up and running again? And look, that's a really impossible question to answer. But the one thing that I do know for sure is that the events industry, as I said, will never be the same, nor should it be the same. We have been disrupted in the biggest way that we could ever imagined. And I don't know about you, but I never imagined that this disruption could be on this scale and so quickly. But it is now the time to evolve. We also can't think that this won't happen again. The experts are already predicting that potentially another pandemic could hit us in 10 years. So now is the time to evolve, rebuild, and create an environment to ensure that we survive in a different manner the next time that this hits the meetings and events industry. And we've looked before at, and we've all done it. We've all bid against one another and tried to, all of our customers are obviously wanting the best event with the best technology to stand out from the crowd, absolutely. But I think we need to reverse that thinking a little bit, take a pause for a moment and think about technology as a delivering mechanism, not as what's going to make us stand out. It's our strategy and content and the way we engage, being brave, going deeper, that's going to make us stand out from the crowd. You know, we really feel that technology's role is threefold. It's really to inform, which is all the data, the insights, the research that we already collect. It's to enable, so things like this, webinars, hologram technology, you know, virtual meetings, and it's to enhance. But ultimately, it's about the content. You know, when I've been asked about, well, you know, when do you think that the green shoots will arrive? And I think, personally, things as they're going today, and as I said, decisions that we make in the morning are completely flipped by the afternoon. However, you know, I feel that July, August, we will start to see some green shoots coming through in the form of tenders and companies going to market to ask for proposals. However, I don't actually think that the events industry will see any momentous gain before October of this year. And as I mentioned before, this 32 billion industry, the tap's not just going to simply turn on. We know that, and we need to be prepared for that. It will take us time to get to be that strong 32 billion meetings and events industry that Australia has seen for the last few years. The other big one that I keep getting asked is, are there any personal tips that I can share? And look, I'm in the same boat as everyone else. I wish I had a crystal ball. I wish I could make it all go away, but I can't. And the best that I can do is to open up this conversation, to be honest about what we're facing as an industry, and work together with my people, with the industry, with our, you know, supply chain, with our partners in this business, to ensure that we build the events business of the future. And I am very fortunate, and I have said this time and time again, I work with an incredible group of people. We work with some of the best creative minds, some of the best live events people, travel people, you know, and we're sitting down and strategizing and really thinking about how we can evolve the world of events for the future and what the world of events will look like past COVID-19. And while I don't have all the answers, I do have, I feel, the best people around me wanting to make a difference and wanting to create the events industry of the future. You know, for me, it's about one day at a time. I am over-communicating. I am as transparent as I can be. And I think during this time, over-communicating, being honest and raw with our people and our customers is what is getting me by every day, because I think we all know we're all in it together. No one is exempt from what is happening. So all of us are thirsty for facts and knowledge to inform our, you know, our judgments during these times. And there's no doubt that meeting face-to-face is the pinnacle of human connection. But this virus has prevented us from doing this, and it will continue to do so for the next 3 to 6 months. And in light of such disruption, I encourage everyone, work together and let's evolve our thinking. Let's evolve how we communicate. Let's evolve how we use technology. Let's use it as an enabler rather than just a moment to stand out in the crowd. And let's work together to shape the future of meetings and events for Australia. And I thought that I would just leave you with a quote. I actually came past it this morning at the crack of dawn when I woke up, and it's from Winston Churchill. And Winston Churchill said, "Fear is a reaction. Courage is a decision." So let's all be courageous together. Let's band together. I wish you all the very best during this time. Please, as I said, connect with me in any which way if you'd like to, and look out for our next update. We will be sharing a lot more information through various channels, and I look forward to a post-COVID-19 world with all of you. So thank you.